Great advancements in technology have been made in just the past 20 or so years. One large area it has been affecting is education, changing the way classes are being taught. This can be very useful, but sometimes problems will arise.
What advantages and disadvantages have these technologies created for students?
Well, the advantages are many, and the disadvantages are often perhaps less evident and dependent on the usage by a given teacher. The advantages of technology in part are that the modern world is very technologically rich. And so knowing how to use tools like word processors effectively and the internet effectively for research and other purposes is important. The risks, however, are that the technology can become the focus and the actual content itself is lost. And so one of the risks of technology is that it replaces interpersonal communication, interpersonal interaction. So we do a lot of simulations in my classroom, in my history classroom, and those simulations involve getting out of your desk and actually playing historical roles. That doesn't necessarily lend itself to technology, and I think that interaction, that physical interaction between students is useful and could not necessarily be replaced by technology. And I would speculate that likely about 50% of the time that technology is used in the classroom, it's not as effective as non-technological interactions might be.
Behind people who are just scanning on Facebook looking. So, I mean, obviously there's no way to know if the person's using it for good or evil.
And quite often, students are using it for their own benefit. Whether it's surfing the web, using instant messenger, or text messaging, students are keeping in contact with their friends during class.
How have these affected your students?
I think the students are a lot more technology adept, I guess is the word, than most of us adults because they've been using it since they were born. And so it actually helps them be more interested in class.
Are there any disadvantages that these technologies present for the students?
I don't think there's a lot of disadvantages. My uncle's a teacher, and he thinks that it's taking the personal touch out of school. He thinks that the kids, because of all the technology, are not getting enough one-on-one time with the teacher, and that they spend more time interfacing with computers. But I think that's just the way it is today. I mean, that's how the jobs are going to be. Most people's jobs today, they work on the computers. We still do group projects where they work with groups, but then our final projects are usually done on computer. So, you know, if we're doing a project on a report or a project where we make newsletters, instead of writing stuff or typing stuff, they're doing it on a computer. So we still do group activities and there's still interaction.
How has the technology changed since you began teaching?
When I began teaching 24 years ago, we did all of our report cards by hand with a calculator. We had 3 computers in the school and they were all located in the library, and they were mostly used for like an alternative to a typewriter. So most of the computer that we did when I started teaching was just another form of word processing, and the technology that's changed since then is just amazing. The stuff that we can do online, the reviews that we can do online, the tests that we can take online. Most of our textbooks that we have now are online. So like our science textbooks and our social studies textbooks, the kids can go online and pull up the textbooks so they don't have to carry a book around. They can pull it up from home. All the teachers have web pages now, so I can put my homework on the web page.
What, if any, modern technologies have you integrated into your curriculum?
We've integrated a lot of modern technologies into the curriculum, especially these past couple years. For example, 2 years ago, Cobb County went through a math textbook adoption for middle schools. And as part of our textbook, we have a whole online part. So if a student, for example, is absent and they missed that lesson, they can go online and watch a 10-minute video of examples and what the lesson was about.
Do you think this is changing your role as a teacher?
It definitely has changed my role as a teacher because besides being a teacher, I'm also a facilitator of their learning. At the end of the year, when we do probability, we use TI-83, Texas Instrument 83, and there's applications on there specifically for probability. So they can simulate drawing a card from a deck of cards. They can simulate drawing a marble from a bag of marbles. And instead of just doing it like a couple times, they could actually just with one click can do it 50 times, 100 times, and see how closely theoretical probability gets to, or see how closely experimental probability gets to the theoretical.
Technology is an excellent teaching tool and an excellent tool to teach. It is not always the best method for teaching, but if used moderately, it can be an important enhancement to a curriculum.